back for the final lesson in our tutorial. This lesson we're going to talk about middleware, and right now we've written some custom middleware that either allowed or disallowed the going forward to an endpoint or a resource here. And this endpoint here could either stop the show and issue a response object of 401 or something, not allowed, or it could allow you through the next method to continue through. And so I would like to talk about third-party middleware right now. And the first piece of middleware that I use when I am developing is Morgan. So Morgan is a piece of middleware that is basically a logger, and it logs information about every request. And so first what we do is we go yarn add Morgan. Great. Now we require it. Morgan. Sometimes you'll see this name referred to as logger. Obviously this is a variable and you can call it anything you want. Require Morgan. And Morgan is, it's important middleware, the order. So think of it like an assembly line. You can't put on a part, like for instance you want to put on a wheel, but you can't put on a wheel unless the axles are on that the wheels go onto. So the same thing, Morgan, you want it to start logging as early as possible, and so we're going to put it right after the express right here. So let's say const server dot use Morgan. Now you can look up the documentation in npm. There's several different things you can pass in here. You can pass tiny, you can pass small. I'm going to pass dev. And what these parameters are just the different kinds of information that comes back to you. Once again, what Morgan's going to do is every call to a resource is going to log to the console.log. It's going to give us a console.log with some information about every request that's made to these resources. And so let's save that, and then let's start up our server. Great. So now let's go to Insomnia. Let's log in. And great, we have a token there. Let's copy that token. Let's go try to get to this endpoint without putting the token on the header. It shouldn't allow. I'm already logged in. So let's see. Let's put a poor token in here. Let's just leave it blank. And now now no token received. Now let's go ahead and put the token that we got when we logged in on there. There we go. So now let's go back to the console and let's look and see what Morgan has done. And what Morgan has done is it's given us information about every single call to a resource, from the status code to how many milliseconds it took, which is useful. So I find Morgan to be very helpful while I'm developing. For instance, let's say like notice that logging in takes 755 milliseconds. What if you have a requirement that has to be 500 milliseconds or less? Well, then, you would know that the number of rounds that we put for bcrypt, I think I put 12. Maybe you got to lower that to 10 or something, So anyway, that's Morgan. The next middleware that I find extremely useful, let's go back to Insomnia for a minute, and let's look on not this header, but on the headers that you go back with the response. And you notice right here, it says powered by Express. So this reveals our tech stack to a would-be hacker. Now, if there should arise a vulnerability with Express, obviously Express is very solid, very stable, but vulnerabilities do arise, and sometimes it might take a half a day or hours before they're addressed and taken care of. but sometimes a hacker that's very astute might be able to jump right on that, and that's all they need. So Helmet will change these headers to um, to hide our stack as much as possible from a would-be hacker. So let's go. Let me kill the server. Control C. Whoops. There we go. So I'd say yarn add helmet. There we go. And helmet, we just say const helmet equals require helmet. And once again, you want to protect as early as possible. So I will stick it right after the server.use helmet and invoke it. So once again, these parentheses are important. It means you have to invoke, after all, these are just functions. And so they're going to run. They're a piece of middleware that runs. And in this instance, this middleware makes changes to the headers on the response object. So let's hit save. Let's start our server up again. And now let's, I got a mistake somewhere. Require, I misspelled require. Oh, you're right here, require. There we go, hit save. Okay, server's running. Let's go to Insomnia. Let's log in. Last time we logged in, we got revealed we were using Express. Let's hit send. And now let's look at the header and see that X powered by Express is no longer there. And it even added some headers. So Helmet is very important to Node and Express. I would use it in all my Node Express applications. So that is very useful. And so the final piece of middleware that is required if you want your server to be used by a front-end client is CORS. CORS has to do with allowing the API and the client to talk to each other. So we are going to put that up top, server.use CORS, and invoke it. Save. Of course, we have to install it. So let's kill the server. Say yarn add CORS. You can look at the documentation on that if you want to look up more. Just know that it's really that simple. You just require it, install it, require it, and make sure that you have it. And then with CORS, now your like a React app or something when it does an Axios call to this server, they're allowed to communicate. So without CORS, Node Express server, the communication wouldn't happen. So there we go. We have our Node Express server. We've written endpoints. We've created. We've done CRUD operations. We've done authorization. We've done tokens. We've done sessions and cookies. We've done database modeling. We've done a little bit of everything. And I think that the next series of videos, I will probably start doing a client to connect this to. And I look forward to having you along for that if you want to join me with that. Other than that, I have really had a lot of fun putting this together, and I hope they have been useful to you. Please click likes or subscribe, and let other junior developers who might benefit from this know. It would make me feel good knowing that I could have been some help. So I hope you all have learned a lot, and I enjoyed being your instructor. Thank you.